Frankly, the most important question to ask is, what if we could fundamentally reimagine the SOC analyst experience with AI?
And as we embrace this art of possible, as we embrace AI, what are the limits that it's going to take us to?
We have entered a new era, one powered by AI-driven threats. And our defenses have to evolve at AI speed. Misconfigurations, unpatched systems, exposed credentials, these are not new problems. What is new is that AI can identify, weaponize, and launch attacks across these points of exposures at unprecedented speed and scale.
This year was a bit different. This year we saw some trends which are really kind of disturbing. This year we saw attacks against a new attack surface. Switches, routers, firewalls themselves are being attacked. And the goal of the attackers is not to steal credit card information, not to steal the secret formula for Coke. The goal of the attackers is to get in and stay in, so they could turn the lights out when the time comes. So the stakes are pretty high, right? Security has always mattered, but it matters more now than ever. Zero Trust says, in this world of mobile devices and distributed endpoints, things are all over the place. You have to assume that that endpoint is compromised, right? And these days, it's a pretty good assumption. So the whole goal of security is, how do we identify lateral movement? Lateral movement, by definition, happens where, Mike?
I hope this is not a trick question, Tom, but I think it happens in the network.
It happens in the network, right? So it's more than likely that we can see the lateral movement of an attacker, but the vast majority of this data is untapped because it's just simply too large to see, right? We haven't been able to bring that into that centralized architecture that Mike was talking about. And I think this sets the stage for a new approach to how we think about security.
If I were to look back at the cybersecurity industry over the past 30 years, and then reflect on where we are today and what we'll see over the next 30 years, AI is the hardest challenge that this industry will have seen during its entire tenure. So the question we have to ask ourselves is, how do we protect ourselves in this new world? And there's two major dimensions that we all ought to think about ourselves, we all ought to think about in this specific area. The first one is what Hugh talked about a little bit ago, which is securing AI itself. Because we have these models on top of which applications are built. We have to make sure that these models and AI itself is getting secured. And then the second area is using AI to make sure that we can utilize that for the defenses that can be applied at machine scale, because human scale is no longer going to be sufficient when the attacks are happening at machine scale. The best defenses, in my mind, aren't going to be ones which are purely artificial or purely human. What they will have is a human in the loop with a ton of assistance to the humans, so that we can make sure that we can very swiftly and accurately do things that humans don't do as well with the assistance of agents, and then still make sure that we can apply the human judgment, we can still apply human intuition to make sure that we can get this done well.
It's clear that we can use AI to be more productive and effective, but it will take all of us. And grounding in our ideas and results and data to know what's actually working. We're heading into a new era where security agents will increasingly handle routine tasks. This means we should evaluate their impact and effectiveness using the same metrics that we apply to our teams today. Look, as we swim in this sea of hype, I encourage you, don't just believe all of the AI claims being made in our industry. Go and actually test them against robust metrics.
We have to create the talent trees and lay the paths for a lowly mage with a wood staff and some basic spells to travel the realm and emerge victorious, reborn, a fire mage. What does this mean for cybersecurity, though? In cyber, this means helping a security analyst from a security operations center or a managed detection and response team hone their incident investigation and handling skills and start to manage incidents, ultimately one day donning a new role as a major incident commander.
Every board now needs a CISO. Not on their company, on their board. And in the next decade, every public company will have a CISO on their board, or they wish they would have.
This is a call to action for all of us. We all share a responsibility in reshaping how our industry approaches risk and how we look at exposure management. We need integration across systems, openness between vendors, collaboration between private and public sectors, and a relentless, and I mean relentless, focus on reducing risk. AI transforms the rules of engagement, and it's up to us to create the defenses.